Hello, and welcome to a live pop culture on Deprogram with Keri Smith. If all goes according to plan, this should be airing on Friday, June 23rd, at our regular Covfefe break time when we do live Covfefe breaks at noon Central. I'm traveling this week. I'm in Montana. My husband, Anthony Garcia, is playing the Red Lodge Songwriter Festival, and the schedule got all crazy because of our travel hijinks. So we didn't get to do our live pop culture Wednesday night, and I figured let's do it on Friday since I probably won't be able to do a live show. Uh, we'll see. Hopefully, we're able to hang out in the chat and talk to you guys right now. But anyway, that's a long intro. Hello, welcome, Mystery Chris.
Well, hi, Keri.
Hi.
I'm going to ask how you're doing. I know how you're doing, but for the
You
audience,
know,
how are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been a whirlwind trip. I was in New York for Chrissy Mayer's wedding on Saturday, left on Sunday, met up with my husband in our van and Tiger the dog in Albuquerque. And then he had a show in Taos, New Mexico, and we had to make it to Montana like in one day. And then we stopped briefly just for a second in Colorado at the Garden of the Gods, which was beautiful. I hope on our way back, we're going to have more time. I hope we get to see more of that. And then we were like, okay, we're going to make it to Montana. We realized at some point we're not going to be able to do the live pop culture show. We're not going to make it in time. And then something's wrong with our van. So I don't know if that's transmission or what. We're having to take it into town today, but it doesn't go past 40 miles an hour. And so, and especially on the inclines, like it took maybe twice as long to get here as it was supposed to. We got in at like 3 a.m. So the last couple hours, my husband was sleeping in the back and I was driving. And because it was an incline at the last bit, I was going like 10 miles an hour up the mountain with a bunch of people behind me. I kept trying to get over, go
Sounds
around me.
terrifying.
It was an experience. Tiger was keeping me company. We made it, and this is the most beautiful cabin that we're staying at. It looks like a postcard. There's a bubbling brook right outside my window, and a huge mountains with pastures and a horse and a barn, and I feel like Snow White, like
Are
the
you going to go
woodland
outside and
creature.
start singing and all the animals will join you?
At some point, probably. There's rabbits here. There's all kinds of. I mean, it's beautiful. So we just have to get our van fixed so we can make it back to Texas after this.
I
Anyway,
told
that's
Tiger to
long.
get out and push.
Yeah, Tiger did nothing. He
Typical.
didn't really help. So that's a long intro. If you're new to the channel, apologies for this is life. Apologies for all the stuff going on. And the schedule changes, but usually on Fridays, if you're new to the channel, usually on Fridays we do a live show called Covfefe Break, where it's me and sometimes a guest host, and we talk about what's in the news and what's on your mind in the chat and hang out. And because of my husband's music schedule this week, we're not able to do that, so we're running our Wednesday night show. We're running it today, and this is my co-host, Mr. Chris. How are you? What's been going on in your world?
Not much. Yeah, I've not been stuck in a van. So, yeah, nothing new.
Nothing. That's it. That's all you got for
Nothing.
me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fine. I'm working on a new woke pitch, so expect
Oh,
to see that
yes.
soon in the future. I think it's going to be a good one.
If
And
you
I'm
guys
not, I'm
don't know
not
what,
going to go ahead.
if people don't know what you're talking about, I'm going to plug it here on the channel and also on Chris Gore's channel. He let you come on and present it too. Mystery Chris did a hilarious woke. Like if they made another Back to the Future and it was woke, what would the script be? And you did a whole presentation.
Yeah. So I'm going to do that again. And it's going to be a big movie. Shouldn't be too much of a surprise if you know my interest, but I'm looking forward to it.
Is it going to be Star Trek?
You'll have to see, Keri.
I can't wait. Okay. You should know. I forgot to tell you. I was interviewed by Peter Pangosian. I mentioned that previously. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I think it did a pretty good job. I hope it did a pretty good job of trying to explain what it was like leaving the woke cult, for imagining that there might be someone listening who's still in that world. So go check it out. It's on Peter Boghossian's channel. If you think it is something that you could send to someone who's still in that ideology, then send it. I do talk a little bit at the end about becoming Christian. That might turn some people off. So you know your friends and family better than me. If it's the kind of video that might reach them, great. If it's not, send them a different story. Anyway, in that Peter Boghossian interview, Mystery Chris, he asked me at one point, he was making some reference and he said, "Have you seen Star Trek?" And I said, "No."
Oh, that was your moment, Keri. I was trying to prepare you for that moment.
I know. I felt so embarrassed. I said, "Oh my gosh, would kill me. He loves it. He
Did you try to
loves Star
fake it?
Trek."
We were like, yeah, I love Mr. Spork. Yeah,
I
he's
love
great.
I like sport. No.
When he says
Anyway,
Nanu Nanu, it's awesome. That's my favorite.
I thought of you. I was like, "Oh, I need him here. Answer these questions." Okay, so one last announcement, and then we're gonna get started, and we gotta run. We're going through the topic today, pop culture. This hat. So by the time this airs, if all goes according to plan, you're gonna see this video on Friday if you're watching this. Um, I was asked to do. I was asked to be on the cover of the new Blocked magazine. So all the knitters, all the wrong knitters, the wrong crochet, the hookers, the knitters, you guys, they're
Hookers.
this is
It
the
took me a
credit.
moment. I was like, what?
Well, the crocheters, they use a little, it's a hook.
Right.
I've
Yeah, I
crocheted
get it.
before. It's been a while, but yeah, there's a hook. Anyway, all the wrong knitters and the wrong hookers. Blocked magazine, they have a YouTube. I'm gonna go on their channel with Neil James and talk about the feature at some point, hopefully while I'm here in Montana. But they asked me to model some of the oogly hats designs. They're trying to take back the cat hat, which is amazing. They have the whole story of how the cat hat pattern was taken over by woke people and the pink pussy hats and stuff. And so they have this oogly hats design. And so the yarn is done by Tina and I can never say the name of her shop. Tina, you're going to kill me. We need to do lessons. It's Awind. Can't say it. Anyway, you guys know if you're in the knitting world, you know who Tina is. She's a wonderful yarn. She dyes wonderful yarn. And so all the yarn was dyed by her. The hats that I received were knit by 3 different people. I think this is the one that was done by Taxterra. There's also one by Murder Knits, and there's one by Lily. And they're gorgeous. And I'm going to be pulling them out. Now that I'm in Montana, it's cool. I could wear it. I'm going to be pulling them out and showing them to you guys. There's a whole spread in the magazine of the 3 different designs. And yeah, it's a free magazine. Go to Blocked Mag on Instagram. That's where they're the most. That's where they spend the most time on Instagram. The magazine's free. Also, if you have a small business, you can, for not very much money, get an ad in the mag, and yeah, I highly recommend it because they're not just about knitting and crochet. They're also about pushing back against the culture wars. So it's a very unique magazine. It's about knitting and crochet, but it's also about culture. So go check it out. That's my plug. I love those guys. I'm not getting paid for this at all, except in beautiful hats. I just really like them. So, okay, that's it. That's my last update. What is our topic today, Mystery Chris?
So I don't know if you heard. It's not like it's been on every single channel and all over the internet, but I wanted to talk about the Titanic thing, about the submarine that's gone missing, and also talk about the Titanic in general because I'm fascinated with the fascination regarding the Titanic and with this missing sub. Like, I'm actually shocked at how many news outlets have picked this story up and have just talked about it for the past few days. It's like they took a break from the Trump stuff, which was like every week, every day, and
Yes.
then start talking about this. And I'm wondering, like, so why are they so silly talking about this? I mean, I think most people say probably a distraction. Like that's a possibility, but I also think they're trying to get people back by having showing stuff that's not politically related, and hopefully people will stay watching them, and then they'll just go back to politics 24/7. But again, I brought up this. You just pulled up the link of the Google front page. You just type in the Titanic sub, Titan sub, and you can see just how many outlets have the story in it. There was like one that was yesterday I checked that was at a I think it was like a live update one where you could like check like have they been found yet? No. Have they been found yet? No. I'm like, what are people expecting? So, but yeah, you can just see just how many of these. And I think you just found out about this, right? Because you've been traveling.
I've been traveling, so you're the person who told me about this and how it's all over the news. So
Mhm.
just for anybody who is out of it like me, just the basics as I understand it, you can go down, you can pay if you're a wealthy person, you can pay a lot of money to go down into a submersible, this sort of mini submarine kind of thing, and you can visit the Titanic wreckage. And it costs about $250,000 per round trip, I believe. And so 5 people just went down on Sunday, and they lost signal from them within 2 hours of them departing, and they haven't been heard from since. And so they're missing somewhere near the wreckage of the Titanic. And so last I was reading about it, the news, it said that they had enough air on board. I think there's 5 people in it. They had enough air on board for a certain number of hours, which I think we're recording this on Thursday morning. I think they would have run out of air by now. So I don't think they found them.
And the crazy thing is that this company that made it took a lot of shortcuts. Like I've watched some videos of some people who are experts in submarines, and they talked about the construction of it and all the shortcuts they took in making it. You have the owner, which we can pull up a article in a little bit, who talked about how he didn't want to hire white guys to work on the construction of it. I don't know who ended up, building the capsule, but it's clear that a issue was going to happen sooner or later when you listen to everything that took place in its
It sounds like
construction.
the Titanic itself taking shortcuts.
Yes.
That's why
Yeah.
it's fascinating to people, I think, right?
Yeah.
That's part of the reason.
It's that and the fact that there are billionaires. I think there was like one or two billionaires that were in this capsule. And you're like, first of all, why do you need to see the Titanic up close that bad? Like, you can just, there's tons of VR experiences where you can just put on some VR glasses and explore a Titanic that way without risking your life. Two, if you're a billionaire, why not build your own submarine, make sure that's following all these safety regulations, or call up James Cameron and borrow his submarine? He's gone down to view the Titanic and other things. I mean, I didn't put a link to his submarine, but if you look the difference between his submarine and this submarine, it's night and day. Like his submarine is so much better design than this. This literally looks like a beer can with its label stripped off. There, there's a video of the CEO who was also in the capsule where he was talking about the release that they have to sign, where it's like a liability release, where it's like you assume all risk by going into our little vessel here. And I'm like, dude, there are warning signs for everywhere. Why would these billionaires of all people not pay attention to this? It's just so fascinating. And so just to see
It
this
is.
explode and to see the difference of opinion too amongst people. There are some people who, feel bad for them, but there are a lot of people who don't. And I think they're dumbasses. They took a unnecessary risk and paid the price. And so I don't know how you feel. Like,
Well, I was gonna say you were asking why spend the money and go down there and risk your life. But I think if you're a billionaire, if you're at that level, of money and power and access to almost anything you want, you probably are sort of looking for things like this that are so unique. Like, and also the money doesn't really mean much to you. So it's like, Oh, 250 grand? Sure, let's go see the Titanic. Like, who doesn't, So, I don't know. It's just what I imagine that might be like. Here, I've got this article queued up. Something you said, Mystery Chris, caught the ear, and can we just touch on this now? I didn't know this. And by the way, I apologize for the ads. I'm using my husband's laptop while I'm traveling, and the ad blocker just expired. So there's like a butt and some other ads up there.
Is that a flotation device?
Sorry. Sorry, I'm not on my regular computer. I'll have to fix that. Okay. Look at this article. This is how woke, I guess, relates to this story in some way. This headline, OceanGate CEO would not hire old white guys, in quotes, because they weren't, quote, inspirational. The CEO of OceanGate once boasted that he did not want to hire 50-year-old white guys with military experience to pilot the submarine to the Titanic. And then if you scroll down, this blows my mind. The chief executive of OceanGate, who is among the 5 men aboard the company's 6.8 meter submersible that went missing on an ill-fated dive to the Titanic, boasted that he did not want to hire experienced 50-year-old white guys to pilot the vessel because they weren't, quote, inspirational. Stockton Rush 61 made the comments in a newly resurfaced Zoom interview. Sorry, these stupid ads. Zoom interview with technology company Teledyne Marine. Quote, when I started the business, one of the things you'll find, there are other operators out there, but they typically have gentlemen who are ex-military submariners, and you'll see a whole bunch of 50-year-old white guys, he said in an undated clip. Oh,
It's
okay.
so dumb because it's not just that he didn't want to hire, white guys. He don't want to hire people who are experienced. So he's hiring a lot of people who are fresh out of college, which that's nice that they get that experience, but they need somebody who has more experience in doing these things so they can help guide them. And
Of
obviously, having
course.
such a young group building this means there are going to be mistakes made. I mean, it's just everything about this is just so unbelievably stupid. And I can understand why there are people out there that think this is a hoax. I don't think it's a hoax, but I can understand when you start to read and learn about all the things that they did in construction. Like this, I have another. We'll show a little bit of a video of him talking about how they operate the submarine capsule, and everything about it just seems like a joke. Like it's like, is this for real? People would risk their lives in this damn thing?
Yeah, apparently. I mean, sorry, is that ad coming up when I go down? What?
Oh no.
There we go.
Yeah,
Let me just read this before I can't read it anymore because the ad problem. He continues to say, look, to your point, Chris, that it's like it wasn't just about race and woke stuff. Like you said, he wanted people who weren't necessarily even experienced. He says, quote, I wanted our team to be younger, to be inspirational. And I'm not going to inspire a 16-year-old to go pursue marine technology, but a 25-year-old, who's a sub pilot or a platform operator or one of our techs can be inspirational. So we've really tried to get very intelligent, motivated, younger individuals involved because we're doing things that are completely new. We're taking approaches that are used largely in the aerospace industry as related to safety. And some of the preponderance of checklists, things we do for risk assessment and things like that are more aviation related than ocean related. We can train people to do that. We can train someone to pilot the sub. We use a game controller. And so anybody can drive the sub. And we also want our team to have a variety of different backgrounds. You're going to go to the Titanic. You're going to be spending 8 days on a boat. You don't want every person to have the same experiences of having been on a U.S. nuclear sub or worked for Atlanta submarines, and they all
I
have the
do.
same background. Yeah. I do.
It's like, well, if you're going in for open heart surgery, you don't want all these doctors that have all experience doing open heart surgery.
Right?
Like, come on.
You don't want every doctor to have been to medical school. I mean, same background. They've all been to medical school. How boring. You might want a 25-year-old, someone who's inspiring. And here's the cap or the last part, the kicker. But really, get people who have a diverse background and then train them and train so that it does come off as polished and safe, a safe operation. But really looking beyond that experience in the sub and what's the time on the boat going to be like with these people? And that makes for a great team. So you're focused more on like what the time on the boat is. Are these fun people? Would you want to have a beer with your sub operator?
It's a long way down. So that's the most important thing. Yeah. God, it's just unbelievable, man.
Mystery Chris, okay, I know you have a lot more links. That one just blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
if you can bring up that, I think it's the second link. I only want to show a little bit of this news report and because it has a section where the CEO is talking about the submarine and kind of showing the inside of it. And I just want to give a glimpse to how claustrophobic this damn thing is. Like that alone, like billionaire or not, I would never get in anything like this. It's so terrifying, especially with 5 other people. It's no, but this video is just it's unbelievable.
I haven't seen this yet, but I have a
So
feeling I'm
yeah,
going to agree with you. I don't think I could do enclosed small spaces like this, especially
like
going under. Something about going that far into water really bothers me.
yeah. If you go to the 12-second mark, and I just want to play
Okay.
maybe 30 seconds or so of this.
Hi, my name is Stockton Rush. I'm the CEO and founder of OceanGate. Let's take a look at Titan. So we're coming into the sub. This is the only toilet available on a deep diving submersible. Best seat in the house. You can look out the viewport.
Wait, hold on, pause it.
Turn up the music. And,
wait,
it's very popular. We have our.
This is the toilet.
Yeah, yes. So I'm thinking you're in this with 5 other dudes, and if you got to go pee or the other one, like just tell, hey, could you all like just turn around and just ignore the sound?
Wait, the toilet is like right there next to the other people?
It's just like a little thing. Yeah.
No.
Yes.
I'm a billionaire.
Yes.
I'm not gonna want to poop right. It's so gross.
I mean, sorry. Maybe they're into that kind of thing. Maybe this is like I don't know, some weird sex thing.
What?
I don't know.
No, this is so. I can't imagine anyone being okay with this. It's so gross. I'm even sorry I said that word. Like, that's so.
Diving submersible. Best seat in the house. You can look out the viewport. We put a privacy screen in. Turn up.
A privacy screen. And everybody else is right here.
Yes. And the smells are going to be, I mean, come on now.
And you're in this for 8 days?
Not 8 days. I think it would say it's like 10 hours to get down
10
to
hours.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The music, and it's very popular. We have our control screen here, our sonar screen here, and we can put any image we want in the back. We've taken a completely new approach to the sub design, and it's all run with this game controller and these touch screens. So if you want to go forward, you press forward.
A game controller controls this like this is what makes it seem like this is real. Like,
well,
this
also
everything.
makes it that makes it. That's also I don't know. It seems more understandable to me now that something went wrong because it's a game controller. Do you know what I mean?
I just imagine like one of those college grads like pitching that, like, hey, like, what if we like use a Xbox controller? Like,
right. And what if a button breaks? Or I mean, think about all the problems you have when you're playing an actual game. Remember the old Nintendos? You have to blow in the game, and like, there's no. Where's the manual? Do you know what I mean? Like, if your fancy Xbox controller breaks, you want an experienced submarine pilot there who. Where's the manual controls?
Right.
Do you know
like, yeah. Because we don't even know if they had like a physical USB type connection. Because I assume is wireless. But do they have a backup where you could like plug it in case something goes wrong with the batteries? We don't know. It's just.
This is crazy.
And you can barely see anything. And I think I read somewhere that window wasn't like certified. Like it was only certified for a certain depth in the ocean, but beyond that, it wasn't like tested or something like that. And so most of the stuff they're going to be looking at the Titanic with is going to be through that monitors right there. And I'm like, well, in that case, why not just stay on the surface and
Yeah,
look
and
at it through some like remote controlled thing
with your
instead of just
Xbox
going down,
controller.
yes, into your little beer can.
I want to
So
watch a little bit more because I still don't understand how 5 people fit in here. So
to go back, you go back, turn left, turn right, go down, go up. And it's Bluetooth, so I can hand it to anybody. And it's meant for a 16-year-old to throw it around, and super durable. We keep a couple of spares on board just in case. This is the second year we've been out to the Titanic. We went out in 5 8-day missions. We did about 10 dives to the wreck site of the Titanic.
no, that's what he said. 8-day missions. So people are in this thing for 8 days in
I
that
don't
little
think
tiny space.
I'm guessing it's not 8 days. It's I'm wondering if he's including the time it takes to get out there on the boat.
Oh, I see. Okay. Thank you
That's
for
out there in
clarifying.
8 days because again with the oxygen
96
being
hours of
96 hours.
oxygen.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. 96 hours of oxygen. You're right. Okay, he's probably including how long it takes to get out there. You're right.
Yeah.
Thank you for setting me straight. Okay.
Titanic, and we did an extra dive on an undiscovered reef that we found. Completely privately funded operation, and we're funded by, we call mission specialists who help support the mission. So they take quite a bit of money to come and join us. Years ago, the Russians took tourists out to the Titanic, and it was just sort of a look and see thing. We really are focusing on the science around it. We want to document what the wreck is like now, and also try to predict what it'll be like in the future.
And that's it, basically. The rest just kind of
It's
talks a bit about Titanic itself. But yeah, so yeah.
Again, 5 people in that little space. I don't get it.
I don't either.
I
So
couldn't do it.
yeah, those people probably aren't alive anymore.
Yeah.
But this has sparked a resurgence of a lot of Titanic conspiracy theories, and I was unfamiliar with this. And I'm a conspiracy guy. I love learning about conspiracy. Some I take serious, some I don't. But I just found out about these conspiracy theories, which a lot of people on social media have started talking about again.
So I'm familiar with a couple of them only because Anthony had never seen the movie Titanic before, the Kate Winslet, Leonardo DiCaprio movie. So we watched it sometime in the past year. Also because I wanted him to really appreciate the Owen Benjamin Titanic joke. And so anyway, after that, he started reading about some of these conspiracy theories about some of the people who were on board and whether or not they actually died and about the Federal Reserve and how all this stuff is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's in here. It's in that article.
Okay, let's bring it up.
Yeah.
You want to tell people a little bit about what some of these are?
If you pull it up, remind me of some of them. I know one of them, like you said, was about 3 guys, the rich guys that supposedly were like against the Federal Reserve, and this was some kind of way for other rich people to kill them off or somehow. It's just like, what? They purposely put the iceberg in place. I'm like,
okay,
there we go. JP Morgan.
Here's one of them. JP Morgan. Okay, it always goes back to bankers. Okay.
Well, I mean, I can understand why people
right? Okay, so here's one of the Titanic conspiracy theories. JP Morgan planned the disaster to kill his rivals. According to this theory, and by the way, we're reading this from a history.com article. According to this theory, millionaire banker JP Morgan planned the Titanic disaster to kill off rival millionaires Jacob Astor, Isidor Straus, and Benjamin Guggenheim, who all perished aboard. The theory hinges on the fact that Morgan had originally planned to sail on the Titanic, but changed his mind shortly before it took off. Yet it doesn't offer any explanation for how he caused the ship to hit an iceberg and kill over 1,500 people, let alone the 3 men he supposedly intended to die. To top it off, the theory claims that Morgan wanted to kill them because they opposed the creation of the Federal Reserve, even though Astor and Guggenheim don't appear to have taken a position on it, and Strauss actually supported it. Alternative versions of this theory claim the Rothschild banking family or the Jesuits were the ones who arranged Astor, Strauss, and Guggenheim's deaths on the Titanic. as the Washington Post notes, invoking the Rothschilds as international conspirators is a centuries-old anti-Semitic trope. The Rothschild family founded banking houses across Europe in the early 1800s, and they have been a favorite target of conspiracy theorists ever since.
Oh no.
The theory resurfaced recently in connection with QAnon, a far-right
Dun
conspiracy
dun
theory.
dun. Got to find a way to shove in QAnon in there.
QAnon, a far-right conspiracy theory detailing a supposed secret plot by
Oh,
an
come
alleged,
on.
quote,
Deep
deep
state.
state.
Alleged. Come on now.
See, here's the thing. They put real stuff in with crazy stuff.
Yes, and
There's,
that's what I
I
hate.
hate that. I hate that because, go ahead.
Well, that's about the conspiracy stuff in general. Like I said, there's a lot of legit conspiracy theories, but there are a lot of goofy ones. You constantly see them pair goofy ones, ridiculous ones, with legit ones to make it all sound crazy. And I mean, I'm not that I'm saying that these Titanic conspiracies are true, but again, they're trying to put in all the things that they can demonize the right with, like, oh, y'all believe in QAnon and trust the plan and deep state. I'm like, there clearly is a deep state, regardless of the other stuff QAnon say. There is a deep state.
Right.
I mean,
QAnon,
come on.
I'm going to be clear for any new listeners. I finally checked out QAnon a while back because, well, first of all, people kept saying, like they say about anyone who's not woke, they're like, oh, you're Nazi, you're right wing, you're QAnon. I was like, what is QAnon? I don't even know. So I looked it up. They believe a lot of crazy stuff. They do. However, here's what I take issue with is what you take issue with. They lump in stuff that's not absurd with the absurd. So they say an alleged deep state. Do you know who coined the phrase deep state? It was people on the left originally. It was people like oh gosh, what's that progressive senator's name who's always speaking against the war machine? He's great. You know, for them to pretend like that's somehow insane. JFK talked about the deep state. I don't know if you use those exact words, but it doesn't mean anything insane. It just means unelected government officials who remain regardless of who the president is and are pulling the strings behind the scenes, like our 3-letter agencies, like the CIA, the FBI, like duh, and the ones we don't know about, and the ones that we've since learned about. Like, right?
Yeah. I mean, you know, CIA and all these other ones, CIA and some of the other ones shipping in drugs and using that money to fund black programs. Not with black people, but for black things, black ops. But yeah, clearly, I mean, and even with the stuff that came out by the FBI and them planting false news and news outlets about Trump getting peed on by Russian prostitutes and using that as a way to get the FISA courts to give them the ability to wiretap Trump and his associates. I mean, this stuff has all been come out. It's all been proven that, you know, you had the FBI and other agencies lying about collusion with Russia and Russia hacking our democracy. I mean, that's proven, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Look what they did in previous. We know when they finally released some of the Kennedy files. And by the way, how long is it going to be before they give us all of that information? Probably never. And they know the public doesn't care anymore, and it's not going to demand it, so they're not going to tell us what really happened. But you know, there were a few files that came out when Trump was president, and one of them, it just sort of casually was like, oh, the CIA was planning to bomb an American city in Florida. I forget which city in Florida, and blame it on Castro, and they didn't in the end because of some reason. But it was just, you know, just casually like, oh, this 3-letter agency was just planning to bomb its own citizens, you know, so they could start this war and blame it on this other figure. And that came out. Look what they did during MLK. The FBI, we know this for a fact. The FBI not only wiretapped MLK, but they got a lot of damning information on him and some of his illicit activities with women. You know, he was in parties and things like that, his immoral activities, I guess you would say. They sent him a letter. If you guys don't know this, look this up. This is true. The FBI under J. Edgar Hoover sent MLK a letter pretending to be a black man and a fan of his. Do you know this?
I don't know. Keep going. Maybe I've heard it before.
So they were pretending to be a black guy and a fan of his, and they were basically like, we know what you've been doing with women. We have all the, or I know, because they pretend to be this guy, right? I know what you've been doing with women. I'm going to release all this embarrassing information about you unless you kill yourself.
Oh,
I
yeah.
used to be a fan, but you're a liar and a fraud and you have all these affairs and you need to kill yourself. That's what the FBI did. Like, come on.
It wasn't just to Martin Luther King and civil rights leaders. It was
Yeah.
basically any group that Hoover thought undermined American democracy, which
Yeah.
included, hate groups, KKK, included anti-war groups, communist groups, a bunch of people. And this all came out in court in the 1970s. I think it was the church committee hearings, in which came out that FBI had all these programs, not only wiretapping people, but also planting fake news evidence in the media, pushing propaganda. And we're all led to believe that all ended, in the 70s or
Oh,
after
yeah.
Hoover died, and clearly it
Of
didn't.
course it didn't. Operation Mockingbird, like all of these different things that we've learned about. It's like, oh yeah, the CIA used to work with the media to push propaganda on our own citizens, but they stopped that. It's cool. Of course they didn't stop that. Like, so
Go
stupid.
back to sleep,
Go back
everyone.
to What's that from? You make me think of that old Bill Hicks joke.
I don't know.
Bill Hicks, he's like, he had this joke about this is politics in America, and somebody's like, I like the puppet on the right. And then you hear another voice, well, I think the puppet on the left is more to my liking. Go back to sleep, America. Oh, no. Before that, then somebody says, hey, wait a minute. It's just one guy holding up both puppets.
Oh, yeah.
And then he says, go back to sleep, America. Your government's in control. Bill Hicks. Okay. Should we read more of the crazy Titanic?
Just a little bit. And yeah,
Okay.
you don't have to read all of it, but just to see the conspiracies that apparently are getting more traction.
So this is what everybody's talking about now, all this Titanic stuff. Okay, so here's another conspiracy theory. The Titanic never sank. Excuse me. The Titanic never sank. People seem to love a good insurance fraud story, so maybe it's unsurprising that this conspiracy theory is one of the Titanic's most popular. This one posits that someone switched the Titanic with another White Star Line ship, the RMS Olympic. But as Paul Burns, vice president and curator for the Titanic Museum attractions in Missouri and Tennessee, points out, it just doesn't make any sense. This theory starts with the fact that the Olympic was damaged while sailing from Southampton, England to New York in September of 1911 and had to return to Harland and Wolff Shipping Yard in Belfast for repairs. The company repaired the Olympic and it sailed to New York and back. It returned to Belfast for more repairs in March of 1912, a few weeks before the Titanic set sail. The conspiracy theory claims that some person or people found the Olympic too severely damaged to be profitable, and so at some point they switched it with the Titanic to purposefully ditch the damaged ship, reap the insurance money, and it seems kill a bunch of people in the process. There are a lot of holes in this theory, but one of the biggest is that the Titanic's insurance wasn't enough to cover the Olympic's loss. As J. Kent Layton writes in Conspiracies at Sea, quote, the Switch conspiracy founders quite literally on it, it founders quite literally on its financial merits alone. Okay, and then this one is probably the most absurd, right? Because they put this. A mummy's curse doomed the Titanic. This one's at the end, so this has got to be the craziest one. One of the passengers who went down with the Titanic was William Stead, a British editor who subscribed to early 20th century spiritualism and had spent the past several years claiming a cursed mummy was causing mysterious destruction and disaster in London. As with other myths about Egyptian curses and Native American burial grounds, this myth played off the colonialists' anxiety about the people whose land they had plundered. On board the Titanic, Stead happily repeated his tale of the mummy's curse to other passengers. After the ship sank, a survivor recounted Stead's story to the New York World, and the media picked it up. The next month, the Washington Post ran this headline, quote, Ghost of the Titanic, Vengeance of Hoodoo Mummy followed man who wrote its history. This one's dumb. Wait,
I know. Where's the conspiracy? I'm like, where's the government involved?
This was
the
really
mummy.
dumb.
Meh.
Meh.
I wonder if there's any ones that involve aliens.
Probably.
It's got to be. Always aliens.
Well, it's a disaster on such a large scale or it was, that's what drives the fascination, which of course is going to drive conspiracy theories. And much like this submersible that's gone missing, as you said, it's already happening with this. There are people who are like, this is a hoax.
Yeah.
There's something going on here, because they can't believe the scale of the ineptitude. That's what it is. It's the ineptitude.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because, like I said, when I was a kid, I was fascinated with Titanic. But as I got older, I've become more fascinated with people being fascinated about the Titanic. And so, like, every time I'm in Hobby Lobby, I go to the model section because I like models. And I always see the Titanic model. And I always think to myself, like, one, who would want a model of the Titanic? Because, one, there were like 1,500 people that died horribly on this ship. So it's just a reminder of massive death and suffering. And then two, the ship was so poorly designed, it couldn't withstand icebergs. It wasn't iceberg proof. That's just poor design. Who wants a model of something that was so poorly designed, can't withstand an iceberg? Dumb.
You have a lot of anger about the Titanic, it seems.
Yes, I do.
About people being fascinated by it. Okay, what else do you have for me? Let's see.
So I have a couple of videos. One of them, that first one, is somebody is developing a VR simulation of the Titanic. So you can go on the Titanic and explore the rooms, but they also include it sinking. And this is a video that shows the sinking from the interior perspective. And I just find it so fascinating that people would develop this and play this. It's very macabre. But
I would play this.
would you just play that My Heart Will Go On in the background?
Wow. Okay, let's watch this. Can we watch it?
Yeah, watch it. We don't have to watch the whole thing. It's
part
like
of
4
it?
minutes,
Okay.
but yeah.
So it's a virtual reality game.
Yeah, called Honor and Glory, and they're still in development. It's been in development for a few years, but maybe it'll come out eventually.
Approximate real-time syncing.
Looks nice. They did a good job.
They even have the average foot per second.
So eerie already.
Do you know what's fascinating about it, I think, to people who like the macabre and stuff like this? It's because it's all of the opulence of man, all of the technology, all of this beautiful design, and at the end of the day, this is a story about nature, like reclaiming all of this, nature besting man.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds us of our mortality. It puts us back in touch with those things we forget in the modern world.
Right. And there was certain hubris involved with the creation of the Titanic, and thought that man could trump nature, and nature taking
nature will always
materials
win.
back. Yeah.
And I think on some gut level, you feel this viscerally, like there's nothing you can do.
Yeah,
nature will win. And I think that a lot about the current postmodern, identity Marxism world that we're living in. And my pastor talks a lot about how the culture war is actually a spiritual war. It's a war against reality. And if you deny reality, like if you deny gravity, the consequences are immediate. If you jump off a building, you will find out that nature will win. But we're going to have delayed consequences for denying reality, for denying nature in the way that we are about biological sex, all the stuff we're doing to children. nature will win.
Yeah, reality wins.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is fascinating.
I wish they just add like a black janitor that comes out like, oh nope. Awesome. Untold story.
I love your comedy brain.
Get the hell out of here.
Get the hell out of here. This is real time?
Yeah.
How fast it filled up?
Yeah.
I gotta stop watching this. This is hypnotic, though. I could come back and watch this again. Okay.
Well, if you pull up the second one, this is also a real-time animation. This is an animation, not part of a game, but this is a real-time view of it sinking from the exterior. And so I guess it was like 2 hours to sink, and this person just animated it the whole time. And so if you want to experience that, you can watch this. There's actually several others of people doing the same thing, but they included sound, including like people screaming, which is like,
what?
Yeah, it's you gotta pull it. You gotta pull
it. Okay, hold on. Let's see. I think I've got it ready. I've got it queued up. Whoa. And so this is the real time, 2 hours and 43 minutes.
Yeah. So you can obviously skip around because obviously 2 hours.
Oh, I see they have little pop-ups down at the bottom with different points on the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at this. 1:45 a.m. As boat 15 nears the water, there's a scramble to get boat number 13 free of its falls before number 15 comes down on top of it. Wow.
See, they added the audio of people talking, and then they'll start screaming. Just...
Oh, here we go. The band begins to play outside.
Yeah, if you go to that the part where it starts. The part where it breaks apart.
Oh man, I gotta stop watching this.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's terrifying. You want to know why people are fascinated with this story? That's why. That's like, it's terrifying.
Model of it. Like, what if someone just had like models of like all like ships that exploded, like the Hindenburg and the Challenger? Wouldn't that just be weird?
Oh, you know somebody does.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody collects that.
Yeah. So weird.
You know.
Yeah. Well, if that makes you interested on going on a real live Titanic, well, you're in luck. There's a couple of full-size replicas of Titanic that are being built right now. And so I have an article about the first one. The full-size replica.
I like the way you pitched that. Well,
After seeing that horrifying, those people die and the screams of that makes you interested in reliving that experience, minus the death part, hopefully.
Titanic II.
So this one they haven't started building. I don't know if this one's actually ever going to get built, but there's some eccentric billionaire guy who's been wanting to build a replica of the Titanic.
This is an article from allthat'sinteresting.com. Titanic II plans to complete its namesake's doomed journey in 2022. So obviously it hasn't happened yet. This is an article from 2021. It says they just updated it 2 days ago. Oh, probably because of all this renewed interest in the Titanic. Millions have dreamt of sailing on her, seeing her in port, and experiencing her unique majesty. Titanic II will be the ship where those dreams come true. So this was in 2012. Billionaire Australian mining magnate and politician Clive Palmer announced his plans to build and launch the Titanic II to completely recreate the original Titanic and then have his new vessel make the same journey that infamously left more than 1,500 dead. Wow. Would you sail on that ship, though, if it were a reality?
No. I'm cool. I'm good with that. Even if I did, my first question would be, how many lifeboats does this thing have? So you want to be authentic, you got to only have like a few lifeboats. That fear, that's got to be part of the journey. You want to feel what everyone else is feeling. Yeah. So that one is, I think there's like a Chinese investor or someone involved with it. Like the article talks about, it's been in development for over a decade now. Some people say it's going to happen. Some people don't believe it'll happen. But there is another one being built. This one actually has gone into production, and it actually is being constructed right now. And this is, all Chinese. It's just a Chinese, investor who decided to build a recreation of Titanic that's going to be stationary. It's not going to sail like the other one's supposed to. But this one, this article has some pictures. You can actually see the Titanic, the new Titanic, being constructed in dry dock.
This is an article from the Daily Mail. The headline is "A Titanic Effort. Aerial photographs reveal how the 125 million pound Chinese replica of doomed ocean liner built using the ship's original blueprints is taking shape." And let's see. Oh, here's some of those photos. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. The life-size Titanic replica.
It's just odd to me that China, of all countries, have people who are making this. I think he's making it for tourism, trying to get people to come to this city where that's going to be parked outside of. But still, it's just odd. China, of all places.
Wow. That's impressive. Okay.
And I know there's a couple of museums in America that have a partial recreation of Titanic. I think there's one in Tennessee and one in Missouri. That's like a kind of smaller, half-size version of it. So those are available. But if you want to go to full size, you might have to wait a little longer and then go to China to go that one, if you trust that. And this Chinese guy that's doing it, he actually built a full-size World War II American aircraft carrier. If you could bring up that failed replica. This is any indication of what his Titanic's going to turn out to be. But
he built a replica of an aircraft carrier?
Yeah.
Okay.
United States one, which is weird. And apparently this thing was so unpopular that they end up scuttling it after a while.
Oh, yeah, here's the article. China built a concrete copy of the USS Nimitz aircraft carrier and never used it for anything. And there it is. This is the Benzhou aircraft carrier, moored in the great city of Benzhou in Shandong province. It's modeled after the mighty USS Nimitz. It says it won't sail the world seas anytime soon because it's made of concrete. And it's actually a building standing in an artificial lake. This guy just has a lot of money and wants to do cool things.
He's laundering it. I don't know.
That's weird.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see how this Titanic project turns out. We'll see.
Okay,
But
what else?
if you could bring up that Freedom Ship link. So this is a project that I've kind of been obsessed with for 20 years now. It's never going to get built, but this would be the largest cruise ship ever made. And it's more of a floating city than it is a cruise ship, but it's called the Freedom Ship. And again, some rich person who wanted to build this floating city that would have schools and hospitals and have a deck on top where planes could land. Yeah. It's never going to get built, but
What?
still, I just love the imagination behind it and how
It's a
crazy it
floating
is.
city. Right.
Yes.
This is an article from The Sun, and there's a picture there of the Freedom Ship, city at sea, inside massive 8 billion pound, 1 mile long Freedom Ship, floating city that could carry 100,000 people on never ending cruise. You like this because it's sci-fi inspired, I think.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I just love the imagination, like crazy billionaires. Like sometimes I come up with ideas. I'm like, that's never going to happen, but that's kind of cool.
The concept for Freedom Ship is 5 times larger than the biggest cruise liners. It's a gigantic floating city where people live and work. The enormous vessel would be on a never-ending voyage around the world, traversing all the 7 seas. Going from Britain, it would head down past France into the Mediterranean, circle around Africa, and into the Indian Ocean. This is crazy. A mile long. Look at this. Passengers would travel up and down the incredible mile-long vessel on an onboard tramway system. And there would be a fleet of ferries cruising back and forth from the ship to take people back to land.
This is basically just Starship Enterprise on water. I think that's why I like it.
On board, there would be schools, hospitals, shops, gyms, restaurants. Developers hope the ship would have 40,000 full-time residents, 30,000 daily visitors, 10,000 hotel guests, and 20,000 crew. Unbelievable. I'd never heard of this. That it's never going to happen, you say?
No, because it's been in development for like 25 years now. It's supposed to be completed in the early 2000s. But I remember like when 9/11 happened, they were afraid that, some investors weren't going to want to contribute funds to that project because fears of terrorism. And I don't think terrorism is much of a fear anymore. But still, the cost of it is just so immense that at this point, I think this crazy billionaire should just concentrate on building a hotel on the moon. That's the future. I mean, cruises are, we're done.
We're done.
On the moon. Hey. I mean, there's people selling pieces of the moon to investors, which is stupid. Nobody owns the moon yet. Some corporation will eventually. Will happen. I'm guessing Amazon. No, Google. I think Google will own the moon.
I just hope that whatever billionaire develops the little miniature space shuttle up to the moon, that it seats more than 5 people and the bathroom's not in the same room as everyone else. And that they don't hire recent college grads to pilot it with a Xbox controller.
How many people do you think are gonna want to get into submarines to go look for this submarine? Like that's like the new Titanic, and they're like, let's see what we can find this wreckage.
I mean, it's sort of morbid, but in that video where he was saying he would never inspire someone, well, I think he did because of this, to get into it.
Yeah. and I have a trailer, and I told you that they made a sequel to Titanic.
No, they didn't.
Yes, called
What?
Titanic II. You'll
No.
never guess the plot. So they
Wait.
rebuild the Titanic. Yeah, I knew you.
Wait. Are you joking?
No, I never joke, Keri. So
It's
they rebuild the Titanic of modern day, and it sets sail on the same course as the original. And guess what? It hits another iceberg. There's not enough lifeboats.
is
Who
that
saw
the
that
plot?
coming? I didn't.
Wait, when did this movie come out?
This came out like over a decade ago. And I always tell people about this, and they think I'm joking. I'm like, no, I'm serious. This came out.
I never heard of this.
Yeah.
The Titanic II, the Asylum version. What?
So the
This James Cameron probably had nothing to do with this,
no.
right?
So the Asylum is the people who make Sharknado type
Oh,
movies. Yeah. So I think you understand the level of quality that this movie is. So you don't have to watch the whole thing, but just a little
now I
snippet of,
hope we don't get a copyright strike. Just
or
so
you can
everyone
mute it,
knows.
whichever.
So just so everyone knows, I'll mute it and we can watch it because we did our most recent pop culture episodes. We did a 2-part series in the rise and fall of MTV. Mystery Chris spent a lot of time and research working on that series. It was very fun. It was exciting. And then we got a copyright strike because we showed some clips of Teen Mom. That's my fault, probably. And so we're waiting. We trimmed that part out. We're waiting for them to put the video back. We have this problem in pop culture a lot. It's almost like they don't want you to watch things and comment on it.
Yeah.
So
it's just dumb. I hate YouTube.
Okay, let's see.
I'd like to thank all of you for joining me on this day that'll go down in this nation's history. A day where the lives lost on board this ship's predecessor were remembered with the creation of the greatest.
Okay, we just played 12 seconds of the audio. Hopefully that's okay. So, the Titanic II takes sail.
Yeah. That's the guy who played Senator Kelly in the first X-Men film. It's like, how far did he fall? He went from X-Men to... Ugh.
Oh no, it's happening again.
The hilarious thing too about this movie is like you could tell like they shot a lot of it in a hotel. Like the inside, like the hallways of the Titanic are clearly like in a hotel room. It's spare no expense.
Why? Who watched the first Titanic movie and it's like, you know what? I can do this better.
Should have brought Jack back.
Titanic 2. The Electric Boogaloo.
I feel like all sequels should have that subtitled Electric Boogaloo. It's the greatest movie title in history. Find me a better one than that. You can't.
Get ready for Titanic 2, The Electric Boogaloo.
I just wanted to make Titanic 3 where they convert it to like a spaceship and it hits an asteroid. It'd be awesome.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I guess it's time, unless you have anything else, I think it's time to watch a little bit of funny stuff. I
Let's
only
do some
have
funny
a
stuff.
quick,
Yeah.
one quick leak and tattoo.
Yeah, let's do some funny stuff and let's save the other news items for later. I think that'll be good. So, are we going to play our game? Is there a tattoo of that?
Yeah. Or unless you want to watch a video, short clip from News Radio.
I do.
Yeah. So we're going to show the beginning part of this clip. This is from one of my favorite episodes of News Radio. It's a Titanic themed one where it's like it takes place in just like this alternate universe where they're all on a Titanic type ship. It's pretty hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the things I love about News Radio. They did one where they were in space. It's pretty hilarious.
I never really watched the show. Wasn't this Phil Hartman and Joe Rogan?
Yeah. Andy Dick and Dave Foley and Stephen Root.
Lisa, if you didn't want the damn necklace, you should have just said so.
Dave, now you're gone.
Oh, I very nearly was. But then I decided, no, I'm going to fight.
What gave you the strength?
There are things in this living world far sweeter than anything.
But is this NBC?
Yeah, we've shown these radio clips before.
We have? Okay.
Thing that Great Beyond has to offer us.
Like love.
I was talking about coffee. But love's important. By the way, do you have any?
Love?
No, coffee.
No, I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't.
Well, then what's the point?
That's it. I just wanted to show that.
Is that one of your favorite shows?
Yes, yeah, one of my favorite shows. I think it was in my I think I put it in my top 10.
It was
when
in
we
your
did that.
top.
Yeah, when we did that countdown.
Let me see if I can find this clip to show you. Hold on.
What is this one gonna be?
Well, I don't know if it's online anymore.
Were you one of the girls that went crazy about James Cameron's Titanic when that first came out?
Define went crazy.
How many times did you see the movie? Did you see it more?
I did
than
love
2
it.
times? Yeah.
I did. I saw it in the theater. So when did it come out? 95?
97.
97? Okay. Yeah. So I saw it in the theater. I would have been in my first or second year of college. And yeah, I loved it. I thought it was a great romance film. And I saw it a few other times. The funniest thing, though, was when in 1999, I lived in Tanzania for half a year. I was studying abroad there. And at one part of my study abroad trip, I was doing my, all these students from different schools came. We had these independent projects to do. So this is a portion when I was by myself and I was staying at this hotel, kind of like a motel in the middle of the jungle. It's hard to explain. And they had a television. And so all these local villagers would walk and come to the hotel to watch TV because it was like the only TV for miles. And they had a few VHS tapes and they had the second half of Titanic. So they would watch this several times while I was in the week or two that I was there. People would come over and they'd put in like whatever movies they had. And so it always started for them after the Titanic had already crashed into the iceberg.
That was a favorite part when it sank. I just kept watching that part over and over again. You're like, ugh.
Yeah, so I saw that part several times. It was funny. It was like, what happened in the first half? They didn't have the first half. So
I've never seen the whole movie all the way through. I already know how it ends. There's no point. But I'm like, I just never understood the craze over it. Because I remember it came out, and I remember like a bunch of girls loved it, and they were basically the ones that made it the highest grossing movie at the time. I don't think it's the highest grossing movie anymore. I mean, if you adjust for inflation, I don't think it is. But still, at that time, it was everywhere, and you had all these skits on Tonight Show and MTV, and everyone was making fun of it. It's a different time.
It was a different time. Okay, I found this clip. Here we go. So you've at least, you haven't finished it, but you've seen it. You know the premise of the movie?
Yeah.
Okay, then this could be funny. So I just interviewed, by the way, if you guys haven't seen it, I just got to do an interview with Owen Benjamin, comedian, podcaster, and it's up here on the Deprogram channel. You can check it out. Got a lot of feedback on it, a lot of positive and negative. And I just say, go into it with an open mind. I had a good conversation with him. I thought he was delightful. And, you know, you are free to feel differently about him. But this clip, I mentioned it in the interview with him. This bit of his just cracks me up. So have you seen this, his Titanic bit?
Probably long ago.
This is why my husband watched the Titanic, so that he could laugh harder at this, because I wanted him to laugh at this. This makes me so just tickled. Okay, here we go.
Like that, Rose is the worst. Alright. Every night in my dreams, I see you are through. Okay, that's the lyrics of the song. So let's put this together, right? So Rose goes, we can forgive that she fucked a complete stranger and cruised with her fiance after a failed suicide attempt because she was so sad because she was very, very rich. So
this is true, though. Remember the movie?
Yeah.
Then the boat sinks, and DiCaprio at this point realizes she's so crazy, she doesn't get on the raft, that there's plenty of room for DiCaprio. He lets himself drown. Like, she's like, hold on, Jack. He's like, I'm good. He died. Because he knew she was awful. Because then she got married to a good man. You know she did, because she had a granddaughter in the movie, right? And listen to the lyrics of this. Every night in my dreams. Okay, think about her new guy, right? Every morning he woke up and he loved his Rose. And he looked at her and he's like, hey, baby, how'd you sleep? And she's like, I slept good. He goes, what'd you dream about last night, baby? And she goes, baby, you know what I dreamt about. Same thing I dreamed about every single night of my life. Fucking that guy from 40 years ago. Every night I feel him inside of me. And he goes, you know that hurts me when you say that, Rose, but I love you so much I can get past it. She's like, good, because it's every night. I was like, it's okay, baby. I'm about to go to work, and I'm working a job. My back hurts, my fingers hurt. The boss treats me like a beast of burden, but I do it for you, Rose, because I know we need the money, because there's no chance in the world, Rose, that you're holding a precious diamond for yourself. Rose, tell me there's no way that for the last 40 years you've been keeping a giant fucking emerald, Rose. There's no way, right? As I go break my back every day. She goes, it's funny you bring that up, baby, because that's exactly what I've been doing. It's like, oh, God, that hurts me, Rose. But just promise me one thing. You will give it to our granddaughter and not throw it in the fucking ocean! You stupid cunt!
Got a point.
I don't know why that bit just gets me. Okay. Thanks for watching. Okay, it's time. We're going to play our game.
Is
Tiger
it a tattoo?
Tiger says hello.
Hi, Tiger.
From the road. He's a road warrior.
Where am I?
He loves it. It's all pastures and woodland creatures out here. Okay, so if you're new here, at the end of each of our pop culture episodes, we play a game called Is There a Tattoo of That? And we just take a look and see, have people, is there anyone who has a tattoo of the topics we've been discussing? I would say, what are some of the weirdest tattoos we've seen? Hillary Clinton?
Yes, the Pfizer one was. Will Smith slapping Chris Rock was.
Oh, yeah. People got Will Smith slapping Chris Rock tattooed on their bodies. Okay, here we go. The Titanic. Of course.
Look how many.
So there's tattoos of the Titanic. There's tattoos of Rose and Jack from the movie.
I mean, I get my point. Do you not see how weird that is? Like, oh yeah, that ship where 1,500 people died. Like, I'm gonna put that on my body.
Somebody looks like they have the Titanic captain tattooed on their arm, on their bicep, there on the right.
One person has it going down. Like, that's just weird. Sorry.
Ew, this person has 2 hands breaking the Titanic in half with blood pouring out. That's gross.
Are they a serial killer?
Yeah. Look, this is an entire back piece of the Titanic.
They have timestamps showing it sink. This is what it looked like. That.
This one says unsinkable. Oh, gross. Look at this. It's an entire chess piece of Rose and Jack from the movie.
It doesn't even look like either one of them.
Oh, bad tattoo. That's a bad tattoo. Sorry. I mean, some of these bicep ones are pretty well done. Like, they're pretty nice if you're going to get this.
Yes, the quality of
quality.
But the fact they have it is just a little concerning.
A little concerning, yeah. Wow, there's a lot of Titanic tattoos.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay. If you have a Titanic tattoo, drop us a comment on the video. Let us know why you got Why does it mean so much to you? Let us
Yes,
know.
I would like to know that. I wonder if any of these people are going to try to go down and visit the Titanic anytime soon. Any private submarines.
250 grand, though. Not for everybody. Well, thank you guys for hanging out. This has been an impromptu, this has been a live episode of Pop Culture, airing at our usual kerfuffle break time, owing to me traveling this week with my husband for his music. So appreciate you guys hanging out with us. If you want to help the channel, I forgot to mention this at the beginning. I always do. I need to just record it and have it at the beginning. If you want to help the channel, please leave a comment, share a video. You can also become a subscriber. We have a locals community. We have Patreon, Subscribestar, or you can become a member here at YouTube. And we really appreciate hanging out with you guys. Anything?
You're also on Rumble and Odyssey.
I'm also on Rumble and Odyssey. And thank you to Robert Lowry, who helped me get my Rumble account sorted. I think we're going to start, as soon as I get back to Texas, we're going to start trying to do some exclusive stuff on Rumble and see how that goes. So stay tuned. We have plans. We have big plans.
Yeah, big plan. See?
Big plans. Okay. I think that's it. It was fun talking to you.
Yeah, that was fun. Dark subject, but fun.
Dark subject. Also, I don't know what's going on here in the wilds of Montana, but my eyes have been watering the whole time from allergies or what. So thanks for bearing with me while I'm on the road. Also, as I said at the beginning, check out Blocked Magazine, the new issue, which is out on Monday. It's a free magazine, and it is full of knitting and crocheting, articles, patterns, and then stuff about the culture wars as well. So this is one of the oogly hat designs, the yarn by Tina, and the I think this one was knit by Textera. Correct me if I'm wrong, Textera, if you're here. And thank you guys for hanging out. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.